Dirty water doesn't stop plants from growing, so do not allow nasty words delay you from progressing. Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to another edition of the Republican Debate on Campus Television. On this program today, we'll be discussing, as it is a tradition, on two topics. The first one is Macron in Cameroon, lessons on an official visit. Macron in Cameroon, lessons of an official visit. That is the first topic. And the second topic of today will be on the Baka incidents. Banka, we have analysis on the competence of Kmer and the SDO. Thank you very much for tuning on Campus Television. I am not alone in the studio. I am accompanied by politicians who've come to throw more light and make you understand, understand the topics that we'll be discussing during this evening period. Good evening. We have Jinem Bane. He is the communication officer of the PAP party. You're welcome.
Good evening, and good evening to all viewers of Campton Television. Good evening to my co-panelists, Chi and Mbara, which has been a pretty long while we've not met again. I equally wish to extend a special greeting here to the National President of the Popular Action Party, Mr. Njang Dennis, and of course to my SG, Mr. Lena Fabrice, and to all militants and sympathizers of the Popular Action Party, and of course to all the political prisoners we have in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And right away we have Chi Idiodone. He is from the SDF party. Thank you for coming. Despite this very brief delay, you were able to make it. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Madam. Good evening to my dear brothers whom I share this honor today. Good evening to our televiewers, and special good evening to the great SDF family.
Okay, thank you very much. We have Mba Raoul. He is from the CRM party. Mba Raoul, thank you very much. It's been long.
Actually, Madam, and it's been long. Good evening to fellow Cameroonians. Madam, and thanks for inviting me for this Republican debate where we are going to give our view on what is happening in our country. And permit me to use this opportunity to greet the militants of CRM political party, which I term them patriotic citizens, because they have not relented their effort to see that we continue doing what is right for Cameroonians and to equally reflect the aspiration of our fellow Cameroonians. And equally, I want to give a courage to our national president, Professor Maurice Kamto, because it is, however, it should be noted that a team of sheep led by a lion defeats a team of a team of lion that is led by a sheep. So, which means that the leader we have, I can term him a lion, the one that is focused. Despite all the distraction that has been thrown to him, he knows where he's heading to, together with his militant. And still yet, we are not, we will not give up, because we have hundreds of our militants that have been thrown in Kuningi Central Prison simply because they went and they asked for an accountability of AFCON, because they asked that the war in Northwest and Southwest should stop. But today they are still in jail, and we have, I just want to, I'm relating it because we have a minister, a director of that's Water that embezzles state money today. No, it's honest.
Yeah, I understand. You can jot the point down.
That is
in
why
the course
I'm saying
of the
that
program. You can bring it up. You can bring it up. Thank you very much, Raoul. Dear viewers, thanks for tuning in. Just to remind you, this is the Republican debate on Campus Television, and we are broadcasting live from Yaoundé, the nation's political capital. And right away, let's have a transition. And when we come back, we take the first topic of the day. Thank you very much. We begin right away with the first topic of the day. Macron in Cameroon, lessons of an official visit. We'll begin right away with Jine Bane from the PAP party. Jine Bane, can you try to let us know what are some of the lessons that you learned during the President of France visit to Cameroon? We are talking precisely 4 days ago on an official invitation from his the Cameroonian president, His Excellency President Paul Biya. What lessons from this visit?
Well, madam, if I should say there were no lessons, then I may not be honest. There were lessons that we learned, but you equally will agree with me that there are some lessons in English we describe as bitter lessons. I think those were the type of lessons we learned from President Macron's coming to Cameroon. You know, we saw in 2019 with the so-called national dialogue, when the dialogue got over, Mr. Biya Paul was one who displaced himself to go render an account to Macron in France as to what was discussed during the national dialogue. He did not give an account to the Cameroonian people, but he went to France. I want to think that the problem this time around here is the fact that Biya has that he has been discussing with Mr. Biya Paul on phone. Nobody tells us the content of what was discussed on phone. But now when you look at the press conference in itself, it was virtually empty. The content of what they discussed during the press conference was virtually empty. That was the first lesson to learn, that Macron's displacement surely must have been just to come and ratify certain things already agreed and discussed at the background. And of course, we Cameroonians will not and will never know of it, not until it starts manifesting itself maybe a few months from today, and then we start procrastinating as to what must have actually happened.
Like secondly, you say, maybe for the betterment of the country.
No, please. Let's be honest with ourselves already on that. France has never, in the history of the African continent, you see, gone anywhere for the betterment of the African people. Never. When they displace themselves to come to Africa, Macron comes to Africa with the French spirit. He comes with the European spirit, that of exploitation and continuous exploitation and nothing else. Secondly, he mentioned the issue of agriculture. You know, the whole world today is hit by hunger, if I may put it that way. There's a food crisis all around the world today. And if Macron is coming and he talks about trying to boost agriculture in Cameroon, I don't think that from the pre-colonial to the colonial and to the post-colonial and even the neo-colonial period now, it is only today that France realized that maybe they needed to have boosted agriculture in Cameroon. And of course, talking about boosting agriculture in a country where the regime in place has buried more than 100 caterpillars in the south for over 10 years today, and they are growing down there in the bushes, I don't think it is a reality. On the contrary, I will tell you, if for once we shall one day see France come here to put in place an agricultural system, let me put it that way, where we can cultivate and transform our products into finished products and then we export to France, maybe that would be a welcome idea. But you and I know that even if France has to invest anything in Cameroon as far as agriculture is concerned, it is only a system where they will impose on us the inputs, they impose on us the prices on our raw material, which they take at their own price, transform and then bring back to us at exorbitant prices. Then of course we talk about governance. Another thing we learn is that when you see France come to Cameroon, or Macron comes to Cameroon to discuss governance, it is still to tell you that France still has a say when it comes to determining who becomes maybe the next person after Mr. Biya Paul Obasanjo. Remember again that I think 2020, that was around February 2020, a Cameroonian activist in France asked him a question, and he said something that he was going to mount more pressure on Mr. Biya Paul. This is to tell you that France still has that conception that they have a hand when it comes to internal affairs of the internal affairs of this country, and so they need to always come in to determine. But I will tell you that we rather feel so disappointed, not even with France, but with the regime in place, because they have continuously made us to understand and made the whole world to think that we are still those babies that we were during the colonial period, where everything must be done and tailored according to the way France wants it and all whatnot. Just come to think of it, if you look at Macron's arrival at Benin after he left Cameroon, you realize that in Benin, there were no dance groups by the roadside to welcome Macron. He was received there by the minister in charge of external affairs and corporations. You see, but when you come to Cameroon, Macron's arrival, we learn another one thing, that he was like going to visit an overseas territory of France where they needed to block roads from 6 a.m. knowing fully whether he was going to arrive Cameroon at 10 p.m. So they stopped people from their economic activities for one full day.
A warm welcome to President Macron and not complaining.
No. You call them patriotic, madam. I'm sorry to say that is not patriotism. On the contrary, it is because the regime in place has understood that to permanently manipulate people, you need to keep them hungry. Those are hungry Cameroonians that were taken there because at the end of the day, they will go home with 2,000 francs or 5,000 francs in their pockets, or maybe some bread and sardine and all whatnot. It was not a matter of patriotism. Let's be honest to ourselves. No level-headed Cameroonian will leave his house and go to Simalen and stand there in the night to welcome Macron. What is he bringing to Africa? What is he bringing to Cameroon that he has not been able to offer or bring to this country for the past 60 years or even from the colonial period? And come to think of it, better issues that we thought that maybe could be if he came just for bilateral discussion. We don't have a problem with that. Bilateral cooperation with Cameroon is but normal. Visiting his Cameroonian counterpart is but normal. But unfortunately, I say we know that when France is going anywhere, it is for their self-interest. You are asking about the lessons we are learning. Another lesson we learned is that the protocol in Cameroon only succeeded in this visit to enable Mr. Biapol again to permit me say to humiliate Cameroonians internationally, because we saw a head of state who is already weakened by age. I don't know why in this country it looks like it's a taboo for a leader to resign, to go on retirement and have some good rest for himself. We saw a head of state who at every point in time needed to be asked the same question repeatedly, and I think he even succeeded in reducing Macron to his own interpreter too at the same time. Those are the type of things we saw on TV, and as a Cameroonian, I say to me, they were not the best for our country, because at a certain point in time, I want to think Mr. Biapol could willingly take his retirement, rest, and as the statesman he has been for many years, at one point in time, we can always go towards him to consult him. Mr. President, when you were there, how do you handle such situations? He must not be the person seated there to be able to continue giving his opinion when it comes to managing state's affairs. So I think those were some of the things I retained as far as the visit is concerned. But believe you me, let's not fool anybody. Macron's coming to Cameroon has nothing to do with Cameroonians benefiting anything. Worst of all, some will mention the Anglophone crisis. Believe you me, it has never and it will never be in France's interest to see that peace returns to the former British Southern Cameroon, because he knows that French resentment in Africa today is growing every day, and of course he is very, very conscious of the fact that the former British Southern Cameroon will be just the last persons who will ever show love towards France with respect to what they are conscious of that France has been able to do to this country and continues to do. We know the war, for instance, France is behind it, fueling the war by pumping in money and maybe some military assistance to the regime in place. So we cannot be hoping that France will come into Cameroon today and want to discuss peace to return to our regions. So unfortunately, those are the things I retain as far as Macron's coming to this country is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much, Njine Mbane. He is from the PAP party, and he is the communication officer. Thank you very much. And now we move over to Chi Dieudonné. President Macron for France was in Cameroon 4 days ago on invitation from his Cameroonian counterpart, His Excellency President Paul Biya. So we are now talking about the lessons of this official visit. What lessons did you get?
Well, it is a controversial visit, because when you talk about the invitation from his counterpart, which of course seems to be the official version, because that is the object of the communication that was put forward by the Director General of the Civil Cabinet. But you also take note that he is doing a tour from one country to another. So I don't know who he invited himself or they invited him.
No, from the documents we saw, he was invited by His Excellency President Paul Biya, and fortunately he chose Cameroon as the first country. That means a lot.
It is controversial. It therefore means that what has there is what is in antiphase with practice, what is in antiphase with what is happening on the ground. That said, before I go to that, I want to read an excerpt of the press release of the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Nigel Frundi, on the event of this visit. The national chairman stated 5 points, among which was the Anglophone crisis. We noted the fact that President Frundi admitted that if there is war in the northwest and southwest today, is because of a failed attempt of assimilation. And we reiterated our option for a political solution to the ongoing crisis. The national chairman brought up the issue of monetary sovereignty, and this responsibility was imputed on President Paul Biya, not on the French president, because he is not the one that is supposed to do that to us. But most importantly, because Cameroonians who are vigilant will probably begin to understand that the SDF is the credible alternative to the CPDM, and many people always find the least thing possible to create, a kind of misconception of the message of the SDF on the issue of the electoral process of Cameroon. The national chairman stated, and I want to read just a brief introduction of what he said. He said the SDF, based on its commitment to a peaceful, credible, and acceptable political transition, invites the friends of Cameroon, especially France, to use their good offices to support President Paul Biya in putting into place the necessary provisions that will ascertain such a transition. Such provisions should include a new consensual electoral code, which will include constitutional modifications, ushering in a 2-round presidential election, and other measures. So, this message was very clear, and you have to understand that the French president coming to Cameroon he is coming within a particular context, characterized by an imminent transition, characterized by the food crisis that my brother mentioned, characterized by the war in Ukraine, which is causing a kind of turbulence in the world order, and people are trying to position themselves. And the SDF, as a party which is ready to govern, is telling the French president that don't think that you will go and sit and install like you went and installed in Chad, and it's going to happen like that. We don't have any problem with you, because the world is a global village. We will continue cooperating, and we'll be cooperating with people who accept to treat us as equals on the dinner table of civilization. And on those bases, taking into consideration the fact that the generation that you have been manipulating freely is about to leave, you have to understand that the generation of leaders that the SDF and other Cameroonians are looking forward to now is that generation of leaders that will be cooperating on a win-win basis. And if you want to enter, to cooperate with this generation, one of the good things for you to do will be to accompany the putting in place of democratic institutions, a good electoral system that will permit us to elect representatives with which France is going to carry out their international relations. But that said, that was only a suggestion to him, and he has the right to take it or not to leave it, or not to take it. The primordial responsibility is that of Cameroonians. I listened to my brother and I was very happy. I wish that what he was saying was the speech of about 15 million Cameroonians who are all registered on electoral registers. People who are focusing on President Paul Biya today. When I come and sit here and debating about President Paul Biya, it seems like a waste of time. He has 90% of everything behind him. You, the young people, we only look at transition at the level of the presidency. We have a voting population of at least 15 million. How many of them can say that I am ready to tell my parents in my village or wheresoever that I have gone to school, I have the required, what is required to lead. I want to be the alternative to the mayor. People should not think that is easy. We are for the fact that they should modify the laws and make it consensual, yes. But that notwithstanding, there is a battle that you must fight on the democratic field. And you cannot fight that battle in abstention. That is the message I'm giving to the young people today. And it's one of the lessons we learn, because when you heard President Macron, he went to a town kind of discussion with some civil society activists, political leaders, and all that, and he was more of a teacher, you know, talking to them about democracy issues. But I looked at him, I said, that's the same man who went and sat in Chad and put the constitution aside and installed another person. So he is just, it's mere drama, he's just talking to you people like listening. Okay, listen, if you don't take your responsibility to build your country, that's your problem. Mr. Macron did not swear. When he took an oath in France, he did not take an oath in France to come and protect Cameroon. He took an oath in France to protect the interests of Cameroon. And that is the reason why he's here. One, to consolidate the place of France within the world order now, faced with turbulence, considering what is happening in Ukraine. Second, to make sure that he positions France in a very comfortable position, looking, you know, taking into consideration that there is an imminent transition in Cameroon, and that is just not normal. But what are we doing? That said, I want to appreciate one thing which I observed, and is very important. I noticed that the leaders of opposition, some opposition political parties, and even with the party in power, they participated in a workshop with French MPs, and it's a good thing, a workshop which the president of my party, the national chairman, Nijo Frundi, sent the Secretary General to go and echo the SDF message and bring us the feedback. But I noticed that some opposition leaders, which I appreciate for doing that, took upon themselves to go and participate personally. And many of them will coupled with some Cameroonians, for some reasons, will say that those that took part in the national dialogue are traitors, because the national dialogue was only a monologue. It will not bring anything. But take note that when they went and sat with the French people, it was just a consultation. Not a resolution came out of that. But at the national dialogue, we had resolutions, whether they are satisfactory or not. And the national dialogue was in between Cameroonians. Whether we like the dispensation within which it was held or not, we were there and we made our message heard. The special status they are talking about today, we are not d'accord with that special status, and we were not d'accord and we stayed quiet. We made known our position on the special status, and we took option for the...
Why are you not d'accord with the special status given to the English regions?
Because there is nothing special about it, madam. As we talk today, decentralization, regionalism as put in place by the Decentralization Code of 2019 is not even operational in the rest of Cameroon.
Reason why, when you listen to the speech of Macron, he also made emphasis on the issue of decentralization. So certainly, the more is going to be done when it comes to that.
Macron has his own problems. Whatever he said on decentralization is just saying it. Macron has very, very huge problems to solve in France.
But I want to believe, Chi, that even if you have a problem, you can share ideas.
Of course, we have our own problems, but I want to say that we have the primordial responsibility to solve our problems. I just to say that I appreciated these opposition leaders, and that Cameroonians should stop allowing themselves to be deceived when they see that an opposition party is trying to engage, like the SDF did with the National Dialogue and others, to find a way forward. They kind of diabolize, and they come back to go and sit with France and come out in a meeting which came out with no resolution.
Okay.
I think that Cameroonians are learned enough to understand this, and to end by saying that my brother Mr. Raoul should know that sheep is meat to lion, and lion cannot guard sheep. So, well, I think that he's a well-placed militant of
okay,
the
thank
CRM,
you.
and
Okay, yeah.
if he's saying that, no, if he's saying that, he's well-informed, and probably maybe the lion that they have has devoured them so well, he will be able
Okay, thank you very much, Chi Dieudonné from the SDF party. But Raoul, you are from the CRM party. It's important I re-emphasize on that. We are talking about President Macron's visit to Cameroon 4 days ago. What are some of the lessons that you got from his visit?
Yeah, Madam, and honestly, I believe so much when it comes to cooperation, diplomatic interaction between our country and other, like France. We cannot deny that. So there is a book, because one thing I realize is most of us, we only react on the present context without trying to trace if there is a vision. Because when I read that book, that was on the 5th of June, I discovered the map, the framework, like a vision that was set up for France on his policy towards Africa. So which means that his present tour in Africa is just part of the vision that they have drawn up to be able to accomplish. Because during President Macron's first mandate, he had a lot of issues of bureaucratic management of issues that happened within France. So now the second mandate is France policy towards African. So we should not, however, have a misconception about that context. So when you look at it, you discover that economic interest is one of the primordial issue of France towards Africa. So it's not about an issue of maybe an invitation by the present regime or by the regime in place inviting France. Macron is, however, to renew the economic interest, because we know very well that we have French companies that are doing well. And when I listen to some individuals or comments, some said, oh, the French does not have anything to do with the Anglophone crisis. I say, yeah, to an extent they have something to do with the Anglophone crisis, because when you look at the economic interests of France, the first thing is you enable a peaceful environment, because without the peaceful environment, you don't expect business trade to be favorable. So, which I am trying to imply the fact that it is very important for us to note that as France approach Cameroon, it must be able to make sure that it enable the peaceful environment so that business trade can be favorable. Because we know in one way or the other, one of the most important thing about France is just the issue of like looking to make sure that it safeguards its interests. We cannot deny that, and that is why it must be able to make sure that as it goes into bilateral relationship treaties that is signing within Cameroon, it must be able to make sure that it at least help to make sure that it safeguard that position, because without it, you cannot expect business or economic transaction to go well. So that is the first thing we should be able to know, that this is the interest of France. So we cannot sit and say that maybe this coming to, because we know about the sovereignty, which when we talk about sovereignty, we look at the internal sovereignty and the external sovereignty. So now France will not come into to talk about our internal sovereignty. Like, for example, we talk about the motto of Cameroon, peace, work, fatherland. That is our internal sovereignty. But if we want to generalize the concept, we cannot say Cameroon is a sovereign state in terms of external sovereignty, because one, we get help from France. We get military option from France. You get it? So now, assistance from France. So before going in now for any business transaction, it must be able to make sure that they come into treaties. So that is why we now, within the opposition political party, we believe so much that if, as much as we are going into connection, like France helping us through mutual assistance in one way or the other, it would be better for us to at least, the way to handicap or to bring the regime in order is for us to make sure that we tell the person that supplies this assistance, either through military option or through financial option, to if he can pause for a while to see that we create an enabling environment for that business cooperation can be able to go well. So when you sit and say that in one way or the other, France will not in any way solve the problem, we should be happy. To be honest, there are times we should be happy for the aspect that maybe if France is coming at this critical moment to renew, because it's for the interest of the business companies that are there. If it's coming now to renew, then all right, it will be able to help us maybe to put an order to the present regime. We are not talking about the internal sovereignty, but we are talking about the external sovereignty as per the cooperation that we have been operating. Cameroon has been operating with France. If tomorrow, like for example, we have the minister of for the reconstruction plan, we saw on the communiqué press conference that he held, asking for the 40 billion francs that France promised to help for the reconstruction. Now, if France decides to say, all right, if I am, before giving you this 40 billion francs to Cameroon, you have to make sure that you solve the issue. Make sure that you solve so that, because we cannot send our business in a country where the environment is not favorable. That is true, because of course you listen, Minister of Trade will tell us that the environment is favorable for business, for investors to come. So I want to ask now, if you are an investor from France, would you like to send your company in a country where you know the environment is not favorable? It's like you are simply putting money in a place that,
like you said, those investors out of the country have been informed that everything is under control.
That is why, madam, we should be honest is that we cannot deny the fact. France might be in any way having its own objective, but at times you need to be honest enough, intellectual honest to Cameroonians. If business investors from France would not like to come and invest in a country where the environment is not favorable. That is why I talk about the external sovereignty, which means that Cameroon, that is why you see. And now, when you look at the constitution of our country, it is the responsibility of the leader to make sure that they guarantee the sovereignty of our country. So we should not blame. France will not be the one to determine if our country should be a country of sovereignty or not. So the people, we should hold them responsible, are the leaders in power for not guaranteeing our sovereignty. You get the point? Now, when France will sit, you are the government requesting the regime in power. You are the one requesting for money, requesting for financial assistance from France. Today, the military, you want to solve a problem in the northwest and southwest. You are asking for a military option. So can we, when we want to sum it up, can we say our country is a country of sovereignty? The answer is no. That is why I said, instead of blaming, because communication plays a vital role. Diplomacy plays a vital role in communication. So we should not come and be given bad attribute to cause a diplomatic blunder with maybe the cooperation between France. If today we are talking about reconstruction, France is helping us in one way. But I am not.
They made mention of security, economic, infrastructure.
That is why you see France. And if you ask about the lesson learned, I want to make it very clear. If you listen very well to President Macron, Macron will not come to tell us about how we are going to manage our country. He's not going to tell us how policies are supposed to be managed.
He cited some
but now,
where they are going to
as a country, as someone that is prevent and safeguarding its economic interest, its business, it must be able to make sure that if you want me to come and invest in this country for economic purpose, economic diplomacy or whatsoever, it would be preferable you do this. It would be preferable to do this, because most often even coming under the issue of when President Macron was talking to most of those, especially the administrator in power, he do mention about somehow distancing himself from all the issues that is happening in the country in terms of human rights. Because tomorrow I want to believe that if maybe the system in place, maybe with the gross human rights violation that has been going on in the country, or maybe at a certain point they might turn to say that maybe they are in any way having something to do with France, or maybe France is in one way or the other helping the regime to cause about, like what Mr. Chi was talking about, that France has been helping maybe to foil some of the issues that is happening. France is there for its economic interest. So now if the regime in place decide now to take the money that was sent to Cameroon, maybe for mutual assistance, maybe to divert it, France did not say, what I am giving you, I'm giving you to go and get military equipment to kill your own fellow Cameroonians. So please, we should just however be, and that is why I know very well that France has an upper hand in the UN Security Council. So for now, I believe so much that it is not too late for the regime in place to make sure that they do the right thing, so that when the time comes for the regime in place to face the UN Security Council, let's say in the International Criminal Court, they should not say maybe they were in any way being sponsored.
Okay, thank you very much, Raoul. Dear viewers, we're going to take a report. We are going to watch the triumphant entry of His Excellency President Macron of France as he arrives Cameroon on July 25th at the Yaoundé Simalen International Airport. Let's watch. Everything is set at the Yaoundé Simalen International Airport with a powerful mobilization to receive President Emmanuel Macron of France. No more an issue of fake news. The President of France, Emmanuel Macron, on board the République Française plane lands at the Simalen International Airport a few minutes past 10 p.m. Macron is on Cameroonian soil. Special representative of the head of state, Prime Minister, Chief Dr. John Gute, receives President Macron in full splendor and in strict respect of Cameroon's legendary hospitality. President Emmanuel Macron embarks on a three-nation tour of West Africa as he seeks to reboot France's post-colonial relationship with the continent. President Emmanuel Macron's first trip to Africa since his re-election last April begins in Cameroon on invitation from His Excellency President Paul Biya, his Cameroonian counterpart. After sharing one or two words with other government officials, with smile, reflecting the joy of being in Cameroon, President Emmanuel Macron waves at the crowd. A fresh evening, patriotic Cameroonians shout out of joy to receive President Emmanuel Macron. The delegation, under strict and tight security, leaves the Simalen International Airport and drive directly to Hilton Hotel, where he spends his first night. Tuesday, July 26, 2022, President Emmanuel Macron will be having a tete-a-tete discussion with his Cameroonian counterpart, His Excellency President Paul Biya, an exemplary leader, to discuss pertinent issues concerning both countries. As you watch that report, dear viewers, we saw Emmanuel Macron as he stepped his feet on Cameroonian soil on the 25th of July 2022, around some minutes past 10 p.m. Now, let's move over to Jinimbane. We are talking about investing in Cameroon, but we can't invest in a peaceful environment. Don't you think that one of the points that were being mentioned by the French president concerning decentralization could be a solution to resolve crises of the northwest and southwest regions?
Well, madam, you know, the truth is that from every indication, like I started saying already, we have the impression that it seems it depends on Macron or France's opinion as to what system Cameroon is going to follow before a solution can be gotten to. And of course, I think from that alone, you understand therefore that we are not a sovereign state. Because if we need to have our internal problems and we think that France needs to give his viewpoints, France is the one to come and talk to us about decentralization before we eventually align on one another, then I think it's a problem. But now, secondly, I will tell you, decentralization or whatever they are going to call it is not and will never be a solution to the problem in the northwest and the southwest regions of this country. The PAP has often insisted on a federal system. Let me tell you one thing. When you look at the president decentralization they are talking about here, let me tell you that decentralization is not constitutionally binding, as opposed to the federal system of governance, where everything is constitutionally binding and it clearly defines the different parts. You see, be it the state, the different states, you have your areas of jurisdiction. The central government has its own area of jurisdiction, and if someone tries to encroach into another person's area of influence, you see, the constitutional court can step into some sort of bring the other party back to order. But when you talk about the decentralization with respect to what we see in this country today, I say it is not constitutional binding because it is just in a situation where the central government, where they have centralized everything in Yaoundé, decides to give part of its power to some people, what we call a devolution of power, and they can either ignore that power at any point in time when it pleases them, or they simply take it back even from you. So permit me tell you again that decentralization is not the problem that we want in this country as of now. Federation is what we want, and that is what can clearly solve the problem we are facing in this country now, because like I say, it is going to be constitutional and binding, and in case of any problem, of course, we understand that the people can be able to, or there are some competent bodies that will be able to see into that. Now, when you talk about peace and all whatnot, let me tell you that France is the most hypocritical European power I know of when it comes to its policies and dealings with Africa. Well, my brother Raul said so many things here, but I'm sorry to say at one point in time I found it difficult to understand to get it, because for instance he mentioned so much, he talked so much about help from France. Please, let's be honest to ourselves. I have never known France to be a country that helps any African country. Let us be very be clear on that point, because when we talk about financial help and you are citing, for instance, 40 billion, how do you justify that France is giving help to solve a crisis when at the same time the same France is giving military assistance to keep fighting? No, listen. They have promised 40 which they have not even given.
Yes.
But what if they were to give? You will call it help. What type of help can that be? That you are helping someone to solve a war when the war is going on, and you are part of those financing the war? No, please. What is he giving the 40 billion for? You say it's for reconstruction. How do you reconstruct a region that is still in active war, where both the armed fighters and the military in the country are still actively engaged in the destruction of the same property there? Shall we be constructing and destroying at the same time? That is what I don't understand. And I say, be it in terms of agriculture or whatsoever thing, you mentioned maybe the idea of European French companies coming to invest in this country. I am the last human being who will even want to have French companies come to invest in this country. Because we have French companies as of now here who are in Cameroon. They have been exploiting our people. They give them miserable sums of money as pay package. Go to Mpenja, for instance, with the banana plantations there, and see how much they get from the Bolloré company as pay packages. And at the same time, they operate in Cameroon and they pay their taxes directly to France. Is that the type of help we need to get from a partner? And it goes back now to what my brother Chi was saying here. We need a system of collaboration where it is a win-win type of an agreement, not where one person comes with the idea of I am coming to help. And you see, personally, I hate the idea of France or any European country coming to us to say they are coming to help. If you followed Macron very well in his speech during the press conference, he constantly said he is coming to help us boost our agriculture. He has discovered that Cameroonians used to have talents. He's going to help. You see, they keep coming with that superiority type of influence where they want to give the impression that they are the ones to enable us emerge. I don't even have a problem with France on that. I have a problem with our own leadership, because they are the ones who give such people that mentality, that authority, that power to come into our own country and want to give us that impression that without them we cannot progress, without them we cannot do anything, when in reality everything that they do it to nothing but their best interest. You mentioned
I don't think he mentions anywhere that he is doing it because he wants to like overpower or shadow us.
Listen. When Cameroonians are mentioning that France, for instance, is an influential partner of the UN, please.
Yeah, let him finish. Then I'll come back to you.
France is an influential partner or party when it comes to the UN Security Council. For the past 6 years that we have been, you mentioned that here.
Yeah.
For the past 6 years that we have been in war, what has France at the level of the UN and the Security Council? What has France said concretely with respect to solving the crisis here? This is where I say we should fail. We should forget thinking that France is a country that will ever come here with the intention of resolving the Anglophone crisis, or that France is coming to give us assistance of any kind. Macron displays himself to come to Cameroon like any other country is going to go to for nothing else but French interest, and it ends at that level. I said, be from the pre-colonial period or till today, you cannot convince me that Macron or France has been able to do anything that concretely permits Cameroon or any other African country to actually emerge. Let's go back. If you go to West Africa, for instance, you see, during his very first mandate, his idea there was to fight terrorism at the Sahel region. With more than 5,000 French troops and over 25,000 UN peacekeepers there or whatever thing. At the end of the day, what happened? Mali was forced to boot them out of the place because they understood that their interest there was to safeguard a region and culture and to tap their goal. That is the problem with countries like France, and that is where I don't agree with my brothers and the regime people who think that they should accept the idea of France come in with assistance.
Okay.
There is no form of assistance we can get.
Okay,
if we
thank
need
you.
assistance from France, let them tell us Cameroonians today the things that they have discussed at the background on phone, which Macron repeated more than 5 times in his press conference, and then
those things
from them
will
we shall now
certainly
judge
come
to
to
see
light.
if they were actually going to assist
exactly.
us or not.
Yes.
What
Okay, with your permission, let him just
I
answer.
believe,
Let him get
Mr.
here.
Banning, I believe that when Madam Anne asked the question, what lesson can we draw? So which means that everyone has, we don't yet know the content of the discussion between Macron, or the reason why he was here in Cameroon with the discussing with President Biya. So I was just able to give my own point that France is able to protect its economic interest. So giving that, and then for you coming to support that statement saying that I am saying that is because of this. Of course,
you constantly insist on help from France.
I am saying, Mr. Banning, yes,
finish,
what I'm trying to explain is you draw your own policy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I am able to draw my own that maybe this is the main purpose why President Emmanuel Macron came to Cameroon, because it wants to safeguard the interests of its investors, its company. So if I am able to give that might be his primary objective. So when you come now to asserting the fact that I am saying that I'm not affirming that is the reason why President Macron came here. I'm just giving it from the text that I read. So if France is supporting us today, we cannot deny that.
Okay,
If France is giving, let's say, mutual assistance, financial assistance, we cannot deny that. Maybe the motive I talk about the reconstruction, the money that France pledge.
Yeah, before you bring up that point, we're talking about reconstruction plans, right? Do you think decentralization can help this situation? Because we are talking about the English-speaking regions that have been hit by socio-political crisis, not forgetting the north where the Boko Haram are also causing a lot of atrocities over there. Do you think decentralization is a solution?
Madam Anne, we within the CRM from the beginning, we said what we believe so much, that what the people in the northwest and southwest, our fellow brothers, they need greater autonomy. That is what we believe within the CRM. That is a federal system of government where every region is supposed to manage its own affair. That is our policy we stand for. So if France today is talking about it, you don't know. Cameroon has a treaty that he has signed also with China. You don't know what they are all equally proposing. So we are coming here to analyze with the point of France in context. So we should be in context to our discussion. So going by giving other relevant issues, I don't think that we are on the topic. So we don't know. France is not the only country that has a cooperation with Cameroon, or Cameroon is not the only country that has cooperation with France. It has other countries, and you don't know. Each time they go into maybe an agreement, treaties, you don't know the text that is written on that document. So today we are analyzing the context of France. So I'm not looking into the other country or the policy. I am not in any way not saying that, or I am in d'accord to say that France is supposed to dictate the internal issues of our country. Like I said, internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. So those that should be held accountable should be our government for not able to safeguard our sovereignty.
So according to you, decentralization is not,
it cannot act as of now, because when we are looking about the issue of decentralization, we should equally look in context of the war that is going on in northwest and southwest. If they bring decentralization today, would it rebuild or make those that they believe in separation to lay down their arms? So we know that decentralization has failed, and I believe that the best way to do, we have repeatedly said that there is a procedure, and which I believe that for those that want to look at the procedure, which I don't have much time to be elaborating here, is you can go to our website. We have sent proposals even to the present regime to make sure that it solves the problem.
Okay, dear viewers, you go over to the CRM website and you will get more information. Okay, Chidiodone, we are talking about decentralization. Do you think decentralization, bringing it up decentralization again is a solution to resolve the crisis ongoing in the northwest and southwest regions?
Well, very briefly, madam, I'm sorry I will not be long. I just want to take
Yeah,
note
don't
of
take
one
long. You
thing
go straight to the
that I
point.
observed with respect to the visit.
Okay.
I observed that the Speaker of the National Assembly and the President of the Senate were absent. I also observed the fact that because of
They were
the
assigned,
visit,
certainly assigned on other duties.
oh, well, if you are a journalist, you are
Yeah.
a journalist, if
Okay.
you can confirm that they were assigned and that in a state visit like that, they were not to be present, it's fine. And then maybe we'll wait for a communication on
I
the
said
duty
maybe.
that they are
Not
exercising.
everybody is supposed to be there, however.
Well, you are a CPDM lawyer now, maybe.
No,
That's
not at all.
I wanted to also note with a lot of dissatisfaction the fact that because of an approximately 48-hour visit, they had to destroy the businesses of Cameroonians along the roadside. Within this particular context of hyperinflation, you go and destroy the businesses of people who only fend for daily bread. It's very unfortunate because of a visit. And probably because these people, they have built their grandmas and their big type of supermarkets where they'll go and buy with the money of taxpayers. That is why you come and inflict suffering on Cameroonians because of a visit. President Macron has come, he has gone. We will stay back with the problems we had before he was coming, plus the problems we created because he is coming. It's really unfortunate. It demonstrated just how much we do not respect ourselves. It demonstrated just how much we do not love ourselves. And that is why I understand him. You know, when the Social Democratic Front equally asked that the President of the Republic of France should recognize and apologize for the crimes that they committed in the pre-independence era. But I appreciate the French President in his response. When the journalist asked him that question, he said, there will be a joint commission of historians to rewrite history and let responsibility be established. I think he is right, because if you see that Cameroonian authorities can destroy shops because he is coming, if you trace it very well, you will see that Cameroonian authorities somewhere, somehow were responsible for the killing of their own brothers.
That is it.
And it
It's
should
not
be put
France.
straight. Let people not be thinking that it's only France.
France.
Okay, can you go now straight to the question?
So I want to also take note of the fact that our journalists who hardly have the occasion to talk with the president did not seize the occasion of the moment. Probably they were put on discipline that they should not ask a question to the president of the republic. But they would have seized the opportunity to ask the president of the republic, sir, what is your problem with a federal dispensation in Cameroon? Why is it that we have spent a lot of money? We are still talking about reconstruction now. Why is it that we have spent a lot of money for a problem that would not have even taken place?
Okay, according to you, you
Would not
prefer
have even existed.
federation
So-
to decentralization? Chi?
You know that is our party policy.
No, I want you to make it clear. No, I'm
It
not.
It is our party policy. We
Okay.
stand for a federal dispensation
Okay.
in Cameroon. And because long before the CPDM people and their allies discovered that decentralization had failed,
Okay.
we had seen that long ago. And it's of recent that they started saying it. Senator Victor Mukete started saying it, that it has failed. Many of them left with total disappointment. So it's time for us to return there. And I want to say that there are problems everywhere, like my national chairman always says. There are problems everywhere. People have their problems. Like I told you, France has its problems. The world order as it is now is not very favorable for France. We have our problems. We Cameroonian people, there is a Cameroonian solution to the problem that we are facing now. If only we can look at each other in the eyes and talk from the hearts. Look at each other in the eyes and talk as brothers. Have we been fair to ourselves? Can we apologize if need be? It must not be. How do you expect President Macron to leave all the huge problems that he has to solve in France to come and begin to solve your own problems? It is not realistic. And then, you know, when you look at the war that is ongoing in the northwest and southwest, we don't produce guns, but we shoot guns. Huh? We don't produce guns, but we are shooting guns. And who are we shooting with? Who are we shooting with guns? We're shooting ourselves. Where are the guns coming from? The whites are doing business with respect to the war that is going on in the northwest and southwest now. Where are the guns coming from? All right, we have state authorities that conspire against their people because they lack the legitimacy to rule, but they are still there. They conspire against their people. France supports them, and France just installed one in charge of present, as it has been supporting President Paul Biya for over the years. Now, out of frustration, because the masses retired in their determination in the democratic process, out of frustration, some others rise up within the civilian populations. They now call them terrorists, and they still have the very arms that are still produced in foreign countries. So it's high time we understand that we have to, come back, look at ourselves as brothers, and solve our problems. Else, we will always be used as we are being used now.
Okay, thank you very much.
We cannot expect France to come and be a messiah. And just to notice that Cameroonians are not gullible. When you listen to the way people speak, some even of the so-called opposition, you will notice that there are some who, when they even have cases in court, they rush to France to go and get lawyers, like my brother of the CIA.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
It's very difficult for him to isolate the fact that we of the SDF and other parties, we are seeing a future France as a
everybody has the right to his or her own opinion, point of view.
Probably they hope that will help them bring them.
Everybody is free to answer. Thank you very much, G. We'll come back to you.
From this Jacobinism.
Okay, Jacobinism. Thank you very much. Okay, we will now take a transition, and after that, we'll come back to attack the second topic of the day. Thank you very much. If you're just tuning in, this is the Republican debate on Camdis television. From the first topic, we move over to the second. We are talking about the banker incident. Now, the question is analysis on the competence between the mayor and the DIO. And before we start talking on this topic this evening, I want you to watch this video. We are very sorry. The video is in French. We do not want to do a translation. We want you to listen to the words that are coming from the horse's mouth. Let's watch the video, and when we come back, we'll discuss.
Respectons-nous, respectons bien. Je vais jouer le ballon aujourd'hui. Le sous-préfet n'a aucune qualité d'interdire manifestation organisée par le maire. Je le dis maintenant en public. Monsieur le sous-préfet, vous n'avez aucune qualité. Écrivez ça au renseignement. Conformément aux dispositions de la loi qui porte code général de la décentralisation. C'est le préfet qui est le représentant de l'État auprès du commune. Il respecte, il assure le maintien de l'ordre public. J'ai saisi le préfet. Je lui ai informé de l'organisation conformément aux dispositions de la loi qui rentre dans mes attributions. Et s'il veut saboter le chef de l'État, moi aussi je vais lui dire que moi aussi je défends le chef de l'État. En défendant aussi les intérêts de mes populations. Je ne peux pas investir de l'argent pour me demander de reporter ça sur des sentiments. Monsieur le sous-préfet, allez reporter votre décision. Vous êtes deux au Cameroun à être élus au suffrage universel. Il y a le président de la République et vous, monsieur le maire. C'est le maire des populations. C'est l'élu local qui a parlé. C'est comme ça. On est dans une république où on n'est pas. La tradition administrative doit laisser la place à la loi. Non.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a short video between the mayor and the DO in Banka. We want to begin with Raoul. How did we get there? Do you think that argument was necessary in the public?
Madam, and I believe that before the coming of administrative law, I think that we have our customary law that existed. And when you look within the content, it's just that everything in Cameroon has been politicized. You get it? Because, for example, you see a small community who decide to organize their football match.
Yeah.
You see, it becomes a problem. You know, when you look at the constitution of Cameroon, you know, we talk about national unity. And we know very well that when we talk about football, it is some sort of
a unifying factor.
Yes, unified factor that at least bring people together.
Yeah, together.
And even before the existence or coming in place of the administrative official that we have in Cameroon, we used during holidays, we used to organize football match. But it's rather unfortunate. And I believe that just on the 24th, I was in Banka, where I was sent as chargé de mission to coordinate the renewal of our basic organs. So if you look the way things are being done in this area, so I gave a comment, but it's rather unfortunate that just about some few weeks we saw what is happening. I want to say, when you look at the SDO, honestly, I can term him to be overzealous. Because even when we are about to organize our, you send uniform officers in the polls to get and monitors our result because of the bad intention. Because you see, he was those uniform officers were about us. They were really insisting to know the winner of the result, the election, when we are about to renew our basic organ. Because what they do is suppression, to suppress opposition. Because the truth is, like a community like Banga, and when you look according to our text, the electoral text, results are supposed to be the results are supposed to be known at the end of the day. But now the person that takes the result and proclaim now is our electoral commission. But it was some sort of an issue of, like, he wanted some sort of an issue of an arrest, intimidation to get the result. I'm talking about the divisional officer of Banka. So when after analyzing all the scenario, then I turn now to ask, when that is to give a signal to the regime that they heard that the people of Banka are going. Because it was my first time. But what I observed just that day, I can be able now, when I take from my major premises or second with the situation that happened with this one, I can be able to draw conclusion. So what I'm just saying is, insofar as we are preaching national unity, it should, however, it should start with the administrators. So I think that there was no problem when it comes with organizing a match. Because it's just some sort of bringing the people together. Because more to that, Anglophones are equally into that area. And I saw the way they were living in harmony. But when you start with that type of intimidation, because you are afraid that maybe because of political agenda, because you don't want maybe an opposition to rise to power, or because you think that the football match might be used as a weapon to maybe to bring you down, I don't know. Because it's really sad, and I want to believe that insofar as we are operating with administrative officials in our country, let them equally know that we have customary laws. And part of those customary laws must not necessarily need that you need to go and ask authorization from the divisional officer. Maybe the authorization was asked from the phone or the chief of that area. So, but you see, he was really insisting to know that, to make sure that he bring an end to that it wasn't authorized. So at times we say natural law should prevail, insofar as the football match was not against to bring some sort of disunity within the community of Banka.
Okay, Raoul, we've just watched the video. We're talking about the Banka incident. How can you analyze the competence of the mayor and the SDO?
Well, I followed the video just like anyone else. There is a problem of legality. The mayor is saying that the person, his supervisory authority as a mayor is the SDO, Senior Divisional Officer, and not a sub-divisional officer. But looking at the legal framework, the SDO is the supervisor of the mayor within the framework of his municipal activities. Okay? Within the framework of his municipal activities. Now, with respect to what we saw there, looked like a public manifestation. It's a public manifestation. And it comes under the declarative regime. And the declaration is done at the level of the sub-divisional officer of the constituency in which that manifestation is supposed to take place. Yes, if we go on basis of legality, that is the situation. But when you look as a politician, you will also see an elected official, just like the President of the Republic. The President is elected all over the national territory. He has all the support that he has. You see an elected official like the mayor, who has only his mouth and the population that are talking. But you find the DO, the sub-divisional officer with military men, some racing, ready to, get violent. Now, if the President of the Republic can enjoy all the privileges he's enjoying, elected officials also have rights to some privileges beyond appointed officials. Because you cannot come into a subdivision and the mayor is there. Every move the mayor wants to take as an elected person by that population, it is he must go and see the appointed person as a mayor. When if an ordinary man may want to do a manifestation, he declares to the DO because they need security and all that. A mayor who is elected, every move he wants to do, he must go and ask. Every move he wants to do, okay. The law says that the subdivisional, the administrative authorities, what they call it, representant de l'État, state representatives. I begin to ask myself a question. Is it because you are appointed that you represent the state? Or because you are elected by the people that you represent the state? Because you want to define the state. It has three components. A defined territory, an established government, which within a democratic context is an elected government, and a population. So you have the mayor, who is part of an established government because he is elected. You have the mayor, who is voted by a very important component of the state, that is the population, and you find him very powerless in the face of somebody who is benefiting from delegated power by another elected official like him, probably with a different constituency, that is the national territory. It's very, very unfortunate. So you frustrate somebody who is representing the people like that. And this underlines the importance of the federal option. If you read the resolutions of the National Executive Committee of the SDF, talking this time about the Northwest, and I think it extends to the Northwest and Southwest, and I think it extends to the so-called Francophone regions, that mayors need to have their municipal police reinforced. A mayor is also supposed to have his police to be able to take care of activities of his area. He may call appointed those that authorities that work directly from nominations from Yaoundé for a reinforcement. Even in the federal dispensation, it may not even be necessary because he can also instruct the military to secure his people. He was elected by those people. He has to protect them. But today, the municipal police is not there, which is the municipal police by virtue of the fact that they are indigenous of the area, they live with the people, they can guarantee security, even more than the conventional forces that they send to come and spend time. When you look at the behavior, what you saw in the video there, when you look at those people folding up their sleeves as if they are ready to go in a battle,
they wanted to
simple. It's because they have no direct relationship with the populations of those areas. They are going. They have just appointed, they spend their time they're going. You want to ask them accounts, they ask you whether you appointed them. You did not appoint them. So, but the mayor, can the mayor do that? How will the mayor fold his sleeves against the population? He will not quickly do that. But they fold up their sleeves against the mayor, and the mayor is powerless. It underlines the pertinence of the federal option.
Okay.
And what Cameroonians should do, I want to end on this note.
You will
What
end.
Cameroonians should do.
Why don't you keep
When
it?
they come, no,
Why-
1 second.
Yeah.
When they come and notice this kind of things, it's not for them to condemn and say, oh, ça doit passer comme ça. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's very simple. The young people of today,
Yeah.
if you have your advanced level, get your voter's card, be ready to be a candidate.
Okay.
If you want to get into the SDF, you come in. Oh, you any other political party.
Okay.
I don't want to. All this complaint that people are complaining up and down, not doing anything. It doesn't help.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Be there.
Yes.
Your mayor who is next door, who is of the CPDM, who is a pillar supporting President Paul Biya. Your parliamentarian who is next door of the CPDM, a pillar supporting President Paul Biya. Start by taking away that mayor. Start by
Okay.
taking away that parliamentarian.
Thank you very much. Jine Bane. The message is clear. Yes, thank you very much. Jine Bane will just watch a video concerning a clash between the mayor and the duo. How can we analyze their competence? Was that necessary for them to go to that extent?
Well, I will begin still with an observation. The fact that those are two authorities who are rather supposed to collaborate, but they choose to go, like we call it, the clash.
Yeah.
And of course in public. And like my brother Chi already said it already, it simply tells you that there is a need for a federal system of governance. Because if we were to go back to the federal system of governance that we have been clamoring for in this country, you realize already first that this post of SDOs and DOs will disappear. And so we shall have only our Lord Mayors and elected governors, not appointed governors. That's the first thing. And so there will be no conflict between a Lord Mayor and an SDO or ATO. It is because the regime in place rather finds solace. It is a cacophony installed by the same regime in Yaoundé under the pretext of decentralization, where they send in officials who go and they clash because at one point in time, each person wants to affirm himself as the person who has the authority. You see, but it's rather unfortunate that people who are elected and they have their power given to them directly by the population are so powerless in the face of people who are appointed by an individual right from Yaoundé. That was also elected. That is the unfortunate situation we are facing in this country, and that's why I would simply tell that the only thing we need to resolve such issues is let us go into a federal system of governance where first the post of DOs and SDOs will first of all disappear, and then even the governors will no longer be appointed from Yaoundé. The people will elect their Lord Mayors and they elect their governors. It means you go within your community and you choose that person you think is the right person to lead your activities, and then it goes that way. That's what I can say. Now, like I say, it's unfortunate that people who are supposed to collaborate should go that way. And now I will simply understand that it must have been maybe a matter of some sort of ego. Because when you hear from what the Lord Mayor explains there, you understand that perhaps to the DO, he feels minimized. You trespass his authority to go to the SDO to obtain an authorization when you were perhaps supposed to do it at his own level. And so he now wants to bring out his muscles to let you understand that this is my area of jurisdiction. And so with whether you like it or not, it will not work. And like I say, all of this is simply because Yaoundé finds solace, Yaoundé finds comfort when he sends people out there into the field and they begin to knock their heads. By the time you knock your head, peace reigns within Yaoundé. And so Mr. Biya can sleep at peace. There is nobody to trouble him. So, like, I just want to go and learn what my brother of the SDF already said. What we can simply say here is that Cameroonians, and especially the Cameroonian youth, they need to be more politically conscious of what is happening within their constituencies. They need to stand up and understand that we cannot defeat this regime by constantly being absent from the political arena. We need to fully engage as the youth in this country. We have the population, we have the numbers that it takes to host them from the seat. So we are calling on the youth, let them get politically active, and of course 2025 is not far from now. And of course we are in a situation where anything can even happen even before the 2025. So let people get politically ready.
Something like what?
No, when I say anything can happen, the transition that we are expecting can come even before 2025. That's what I'm saying. You see, so the youth should be very, very ready and make sure that democratically speaking, we will call on people to go on for registration, get their electoral cards ready to know that when anything of such, when an opportunity comes up, they will be able to use their cards, you see, to do what it takes. Take note that we are talking about banker here, which is in the, I think, the West region. But be careful. If this were to happen maybe in the Northwest, Southwest, they would have given a pretext that no, it was going to be a threat to public order. If maybe it was organized by an opposition leader in that same banker, they would have said it's a threat to public order. But these are surely people from the same CPTM clashing because of what? A power tussle, authority. One person wants to think that I am elected, so I have to. The other person wants you to understand that I am appointed, so I have the jurisdiction or the power. So unfortunately, these things would not happen in our country if we had gone or opted for the federal system. The federal system, which was unlawfully abolished since 1972, and we are still insisting on it, that is the only safe means by which we can get back to a situation where, like I said in the first part of this program, because I said that decentralization that they claim they are putting in place, they even go as far as calling advanced, it is not constitutionally binding. Because like I say, when you look at the devolution of power, power is simply, it's just a part of the power that Yaoundé sits and delegates. You see, and like I keep saying, they can even ignore it at certain point in time, or they withdraw it. But when it is when it's a federated system, it is legally binding. Take note that even when you look at the regional councils that have been put in place of recent, when you look at some of the duties given to them, they will tell you that they can, at one point in time, no matter what they may discuss, maybe on issue of education, for instance, they can only be consulted. And whatever thing they say may be taken or may not be taken. So at the end of the day, even under the decentralization, you don't have any power at all. But if we are in a federal system, we know that we have the Lord Mayor. After the Lord Mayor, we have a governor elected by the people. And so the law defines clearly who does what at what level. And you cannot come and you are trying to infringe into another person's area of jurisdiction, because the law clearly guides who does what and who doesn't do what at what level. Even the central government will not be able to infringe into the parts of the federated states, because the constitution will clearly define what the central government is supposed to do and what the federated governments are equally supposed to do. So I think that to avoid such a thing, we have to go back to the federal system. Let Yaoundé understand that. Let Mr. Biya and his regime understand that whether they want it or not, it is a matter of time, but we shall want the boy back to that.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we go, we are running towards the end of the program. I want to take your last views or maybe advice. But Raoul, do you have something to say before we draw the curtains of the program this evening?
I believe so much that in respect to our discussion, I want to conclude still by emphasizing on the responsibility of the youth as well, because it takes courage and integrity to see dynamic youth at this complex moment, to sit and demand for the plight of our people. And that is why we have hundreds of our militants that are today in Kunengi, which we can attest and affirm for the courage that they took, but still yet they are still in Kunengi. And whereas we saw someone that embezzles state money, billions, but today he has been granted a presidential release. So it's not too late. As I'm calling on the administrative official in our country to kindly release those people that stood up because of patriotism to ask for the war in Northwest, because the president of this country has said youth should engage. So by engaging means you should be constructive. So by asking that the war should end through a peaceful means does not mean you should be taken and jailed and sent to Kunengi. And now, just to conclude, I believe so much that we all are seen as opposition leaders, opposition communicant. We are striving to make sure that we change the political narrative of our country. Why would a communicant be given false allegation? Because I decided to reserve this and to make him to understand, because it's really dishonest for a communicant of the SDF to stand and lie to Cameroonian that the CRM went and bought a lawyer. I want to ask if Eric Morunti that, no, madam, can you
I think, yeah, we are running out of time. I just wanted your last.
Yes, I have this my last. So I
yeah.
want him to attest to him. He might take the opportunity and prove to Cameroon where he saw Eric Morunti in a court in Cameroon. He simply left France, came and visited his clients. So I don't see where he said he was in court. So that is why you see like the recent communique that I read from the SDN. I was so happy with the agenda that was put as a resolution that it is very important when you see such a communicant to come on air and lie and talk what just
thank you.
So I don't know if maybe he took an authorization from his Secretary General.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm calling on his Secretary General to take note about such allegations because as a communicant it's very important. It should be intellectual.
He's here.
Political
what is your last word as we draw close to the end of the program?
Well, looking at the issue of the mayor of Banka, we understand that there is a deficit of trust between nationally elected officials and locally elected officials because they are supposed to benefit of the same privileges within their territorial jurisdiction. We also, there's a question as to ask, who is the one controlling the legality of the deal? Since the deals have to control the legality of the mayors, who controls the legality of the deals? We need to make sure that our judiciary is at work to be able to control everybody. And that said, my brother is running out with a lot of comedy here. I want to think that you have disproved yourself. Dupont Moretti left and came to Cameroon to come and see his client.
Go back.
What? No, listen.
You saw him in
let him finish. We are running out of time. Go ahead.
Cameroonians are not gullible, and there is this notion of opposition that you people are selling to Cameroonians because you think that being an opposition is a safe place where you come and hide your weaknesses. After you have dealt with the CPDM, modified constitutions here and there, you come back and come
let him reply. Let him answer to your question. Yes, go ahead. We are running out of time. Barra, we are running out of time.
When you were talking
are you afraid of
Let him finish.
There are close to 15 million Cameroonians, and they will have to vote to determine who is doing what and who is not doing what. And our role to communicate is to tell them the truth as it is. Criticize me and criticize me objectively. Don't tell lies. And Dupont Moretti, you call him Eric Moretti, I'm very sorry that as a communicator of the CRM, you even make mistakes of such names. Dupont Moretti came here.
So the name is not Eric?
Listen.
Look how ignorant you are.
Please, let him land. We are already
He came here to see his client who was in prison for reasons you know, right? So, you people thought that it was Dupont Moretti and not the lawyers, the Cameroonian lawyers, which you
saw him in court.
Please let him finish. Let him finish. We are running out. Please, Barra will let him finish. Of course.
Interventions. He even made
you saw him in court.
30 seconds. Let him finish, please. We don't have much time. Barra, we don't have much time. We are running out of time, please. Yes.
You know, it is very simple. It's very simple. I'm talking to Cameroonians and not to you. And those that are listening know that you are lying. And one proof that you are lying is that you don't want to let me talk because you don't want the truth to come out.
Go ahead.
As for my party internal affairs, leave them for my party.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have no problems with the rules and regulations of my party.
Thank you very much.
Cameroonians know who you people are. They know you from the way you are talking. They know that you have things to hide and you don't want
Okay, Chidjede, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are going to take the last guest of today. Jine Bane, what is your general observation as we draw to the end of the program?
Well, what I can simply tell Cameroonians is that we need to be aware of France. I'm going back to topic number one. France has never been a friend to our country. France has never helped us to progress in any way, and it is not today that France will change its stance on its policy when it comes to Cameroon or any other African country. We need to be very aware of them. Secondly, the Cameroonian youth and Cameroonians as a whole should understand that we have come to a time where whether before 2025 or by 2025, this regime needs to change. Power needs to change hands. So we should get ready politically to be able to make sure that that transition comes and that we put in place the right people who are supposed to lead this country. And then lastly, I would like Cameroonians to understand that no matter what happens, the federal system is the best that we can opt for this country, and nothing of a decentralization or an advanced decentralization or any other thing of that sort. So I think those are my last words I can give Cameroonians who are listening to us today.
Thank you very much, dear viewers. we've come to the end of our debates program this Saturday evening. The two topics we're discussing on is Macron in Cameroon, lessons of an official visit, and the second was banker analysis on the competence between the mayor and the deal. And in today's program, we had Jinembane. He is the communication officer of the PAP party. Thank you very much for coming.
Pleasure, madam.
Okay, move over here to my right. We have Chi Diodone. You are from the STF party. Thank you very much for always being there.
Thank you for having me. It's a wonderful debate, and calling on Cameroonians to register massively. Between now and 31st August, they can hit the figure of 10 or 12 million.
Okay, thank you very much. Barrow, thank you very much for coming. You are from the CRM party. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And dear viewers, that was it. Thank you very much for staying tuned on Camdis Television. We take another rendezvous next week, Saturday at exactly 6 p.m. Have a blessed weekend in the company of interesting programs on Camdis Television. Goodbye.